Hi guys, we're live here at Dunn Brothers in Columbia, Missouri. We're doing our live broadcast of complicated conversations in the post-9/11 era and rebuilding the world. Let's talk. So, hi, this is Merchant and this is Jason Small here.
Good evening.
Hi. And hello, this is Mohammed.
Yep.
And you are doing your engineering degree?
Yeah, I'm doing civil environmental engineering.
All right.
Progressive.
All right.
Okay.
And?
I'm Kelsey Klein. I'm a senior at Mizzou studying international business.
I'm Katie Ledbetter, and I'm here for the coffee.
That's awesome, Rahat. Somebody over there, we have a neurosurgeon right there.
Not a neurosurgeon.
Neurologist right there, yes. Hi, how are you? I know you're working so hard because you're preparing for your exam. Yeah, but you're still going to join us during in and out of our conversation, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome.
And
Are we live?
I am Brittany, and I am one of Mayor's Dr. Hem's students. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. There we go.
So, all right.
All right.
Do we have New Mexico State? Do you have New Mexico State University already joining us?
I don't see them yet. What?
We are a little bit cramped, but
That's okay. We're here for the deodorant.
We have
Swept
8
through my
people
shirt.
that are
All right, hi
joining us
guys.
now.
I'm so happy you're joining us
Next time
here.
it's gonna be
We are a little bit
Yeah.
cramped because what
Old
do you call
Spice
it?
and
We're
Axe.
like in one table. We have a camera going and we have the live broadcast going. And I think it's so important that we're doing this conversation. And so tonight we're going to talk about what's happening in the world. What's happening in the world?
A lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff happening. Okay, so tonight I think the very first topic that we're going to discuss is the refugee crisis that's happening. What do you guys think about the refugee crisis? It's really great. To me, it's really a very serious situation. So what do we do with the refugees that are coming in from passing to Hungary and other places now, from Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan even? I mean, it's so unfortunate, but who wants to tell the world what are we going to do?
And the quiet room begins. What
The
are we gonna
quiet
do?
room begins.
So this is an interesting animal because you of course have human compassion that says open up your doors and bring me your huddled masses. It doesn't matter what country you're in. But at the same time, if you're looking at this like a game of chess, big picture, what does that do to your country? And you hear that other countries, and I think England is one of them, that says, hey, we're going to let a certain amount in, and the United States says, oh, we're going to let in 10,000 refugees over the course of the next year, which is an unimpressive number, great big picture. But I think this is an interesting story as opposed to illegal immigrants. I think these are people who are fleeing their nation for a legitimate reason, that the doors should be open and opportunities should be given to these people to find jobs, to become a productive member of a particular economy, as opposed to others that hop a fence or swim a river, have a baby so the entire family can come over and then become a drain on society. Now, again, that's my take, but I would rather see that happen and doors swung open than people packed into a trunk, or a truck rather, and die standing up. That's just the kind of thing I don't want to see, and I'd love to see it stop. But really, it's also got to shift to what can be done with the refugees. You can really shift the gears to say, what can we do to help these people from having to stop fleeing their country?
Well, in my opinion, I see that the best solution is that to deal with the problem from its root. Now, what led those people to flee their country?
Well, there's Assad.
A maniac dictator killing his own people just to stay in seat
Right.
of power. Being allied by Iran, being allied by
Russia?
by China, partially, and by other splinter groups from multiple countries like Iraq and Lebanon. Now, in my opinion, or since I'm an Arab and I'm a big follower of what's going on in Syria at the time being, one of the problems, or one of the most drastic things that's happening to the Syrians and making them flee, basically, is the barrel bombs that being shot from the sky. Now, a lot of people have made a plea to the U.S. government and many other governments around the world, those who are opposing the actions of the Syrian government, is that they need a no-fly zone.
Over Syria? So,
over Syria.
but do you think Russia will allow that? I mean,
In my opinion, Russia doesn't have the final say at the time being, considering the fact that Putin have got himself, like he soaked himself deep into the Ukrainian situation, and due to the European sanctions against Russia, I don't believe that they have much thing to do.
yeah.
And a country like Russia, if we look at it from geographical perspective, such a country, they cannot be self-sufficient in many things, and they still rely on the other countries, on the world in general, and they don't seem to have too much allies comparing with the U.S. and the European Union.
Right.
So, in my opinion, the U.S. can do something regarding the situation there to alleviate the crisis and make more hope for people who are still in Syria that, okay, things will get better. We don't need to go drown in the Mediterranean, get our bodies washed on the shores, or die suffocating in the back of a truck. This is my opinion, because taking in refugees, that's a big responsibility. And allow me to say that a great deal of those refugees, they will leech on the economy of the country. I'm saying that, and I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm just an international who is going to return back home, basically. And I know about this. A great deal of those people will leech on the economy. Yeah, they're distressed. They deserve a second chance. They deserve to live in peace. But also, not all of them will be effective members of the society, of the new country that have fostered them.
Sure. And I think you bring up a very interesting point, Mohammed, is, what can the United States do? And I'm going to ask an interesting question, but what is the interest for the United States to do it? This goes back into the early 90s when we were looking at the first Gulf War, and we got involved, and everybody says, well, the United States shouldn't have been involved in that, but we were, because there was oil, and it really had very little to do with Saddam Hussein and him being a maniac. And of course, here in the United States, there was a lot of backlash of people saying, why are we there? Why are we sending our sons and daughters to go to this country because we're complaining over gas prices? So, okay, I can see maybe there'll be a leech on society in some regards, but if the United States gets involved in a program like this, or to take on Putin or anybody else in that particular realm, what is the overarching benefit to the United States? I can see that there's maniacs in several of these countries. Iran, another discussion altogether. There's absolutely no reason for us to have any kind of liaison with that country, yet we have. And same thing with Russia. But the humane side of me says, yes, absolutely, I want to help. But to do that, we've got to put, to a certain degree, Americans at risk. And if I'm going to say, yes, Mr. President, send an American citizen over there to help refugees, and that person dies, how am I going to explain to their mother that their son or daughter died helping somebody when there's really no benefit to the United States?
Well, we're talking about humanitarian issue, but also, well, my question sometimes is, there are other countries out there that are silent, the ones that are rich, the Gulf states. How much involvement they have, or how much help do they are giving with this in this crisis? I want to see them get involved more and contribute more, because they can do that. And so Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, all these countries, I want them to bring, to give some more. This is not just a problem in Europe or United States. This is a world's problem.
Exactly.
So,
Without a doubt. And I think you hit the nail right on the head, is that it is a global problem. And the United States is one of those countries, and I'm saying that being an American citizen, but we are the first country to, when we don't get involved, the United States is blamed. But also the first one to say, when somebody says, hey, can you help us out? Now, as a person, I want to help everybody. And it's very easy for me to say, send some smart bombs, we can do our thing, we've got the tools and the resources to take out a dictator in his sleep. We've got a stealth bomber just down the street from where we're sitting right now. I mean, literally, they leave from an hour and a half down the road from here to fly over to various Arab nations. So we have the tools and the resources to do it, and to do it quietly. So I think if we were going to have some involvement there, it can't be specifically diplomatic, but not but not diplomatic in a public way.
Yeah.
If it's leaders having this discussion, we say, okay, behind closed doors, and then maybe we celebrate the success or make up an excuse for the failure after the fact, a la going after Osama bin Laden. Nobody knew that operation was in play until it was completed and there was rejoicing.
So are we talking about dealing with Assad or dealing with what are we, Iran, or what are we? Where are we now?
Specifically Assad.
Assad,
Here's the thing. First of all, when I said that the U.S. or other countries need to intervene in that regard, I didn't mean that they send soldiers, because every man's life matters, and we have seen what wars have did to the American soldiers. You know, we are hearing a lot of stories about people who came in like having those traumas after war, or having a hard time adjusting to normal life again. Not to mention those who have lost their lives for a cause that many people may not think that, okay, why would we send our soldiers there? On the other hand, what I tend to believe is that there is some sort of a compromise in the whole thing, that maybe they can do it in a diplomatic way, like
Sanctions?
Sanctions, not only sanctions, like since the U.S. have made a deal with Iran, okay, which might not seem to be a success, unfortunately. But actually, at least maybe they can leverage from that deal, like tell them,
I think it's too late. I mean, if you think they have given everything, you know, what
I
are we
think
getting
that
from
the
it?
U.S. has a lot more leverage
Can
than I think that the U.S. has a lot more leverage than we actually use against other countries.
But are we using it effectively though?
Yeah, no, I think that we could use it more effectively instead of sending money, instead of actually letting all these people into our country, because that is so controversial. I think we actually have more pull than our government is using against other countries, and making those rich countries actually step forward and do what they can.
Well, I know it shows the strength or the weakness that what's happening right now. For example, we did a negotiation without even getting our prisoners out there. You know,
how do you strike a deal with a country that still has hostages?
Right.
And I was thrilled to death that was brought up in the debate the other night, because I don't know how that one got missed. How y'all doing? Come on in.
There were a lot of things that were missed in that debate last.
And I mean, and that's a great discussion that I look forward to having. But I think Mohammed raises a very strong point.
Conversation, Emily and Doug.
Get going.
No, it's okay. She's talking.
Hello. Where are we?
No, I was saying that I think Mohammed has a strong point that involvement and
Move that,
participation
and then
to a
get the chair.
solution doesn't necessarily have to
Yeah,
involve
that's
boots on the ground or even something that's based on the military. Whether it be sanctions or leveraging, or you're right, we do carry a lot of weight, and we do have strong relationships, whether it be through trade or some other form, to have other countries step up. And that is something we have not done. And I think part of that is because from a governmental standpoint, we like to be the strong guy. And I think we're wuss in some regards. And I hate to say it like that, but what we've got going on in the White House has just been a whole lot of what do I need to do to get reelected in 4 more years. Not put your foot down and say, hey, I'm going to leverage the relationship I have with Egypt or Saudi Arabia or insert country's name here. We have a silly agreement going on with Iran. And then how do you leverage something like that? I just don't see it.
What do you guys think about it? I don't understand that deal.
I
Now,
think
when you
there's
talk about
something
deal,
that our government isn't telling us.
okay, what do you
I
guys
think
think about it?
there's
Yeah,
something.
Bridget thinks that there's something that our government is doing that they're not. Of course, they're not going to tell us.
Something that they
Why
think
would
that
they?
they would benefit.
Right.
This is
Because
the magic of
first of
diplomacy.
all, you know,
It
we
is,
have
isn't
this. They're saying that it's the best for the world because we can avert like the building of the nuclear
The whole
weapons.
plausible
maybe.
deniability thing.
Yeah, exactly. We can monitor it much better. What do you think about that? I mean, I don't believe that it is.
I don't buy it. You can't. These are people, and sorry, Mohammed. American citizens are the ones who are voting, basically hiring the American leaders. So let's consider this a job interview. I cannot, in good faith, hire somebody to lead me and control my finances if I don't know what's going on in their background, in their world, and in their head. So you can't tell me that, hey, thank you very much for hiring me, and I'm going to keep all these secrets from you because it's best. That's a bunch of bullpucky for what it's worth. So if you want to tell me that, oh, it's a secret, I understand that secrecy is sometimes needed to help business grow because you don't want the competition to know what's going on or else they're going to scoop you. But at the same time, when it comes to something like this, and I see billions upon billions of dollars going towards supporting other nations or cutting deals with a country that still has our people, explain to me where the benefit is once again. Is there something going on? Is there going to be a trade? Has a trade already been made? That same argument could go back to the 60s and early 70s when allegedly there's still Americans in Southeast Asia.
It's
Yet we have a relationship there.
I don't know what's happening. What do you guys think? Sometimes I really like suspecting that we are, something is like holding their, there's a chokehold or something. I'm not sure. What is happening? Are we afraid of Putin? Are we afraid of Iran?
Putin's a nut job.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing that we have in it, and to be kinder to these countries, is because they have something we want, which are certain resources that we can't get. And so,
Can we not get them, or do we not want to get them?
want to, because of how our economy is set up. I mean,
people.
before the 80s, there was a push for renewable energies, but then come the Reagan administration in the 80s, there was kind of a 180, and we were going back to how the good America used to be, the knit and grit. We were going to do coal, we were going to do nuclear, cost effective, we were going to get the economy stimulated, and I think that that kind of take back of renewable energy and the more dependency on oil has caused us to have these very unhealthy relationships with some of these countries that have resources we want, although we might not get along with them. Like Saudi Arabia does so many things that are not very, it's not very humanitarian. Is that the word I want to use? Humanitarian, or to people, but we still consider them our allies. And why is that? It's because they have a resource we want, and we tolerate them.
So let me ask you this question
It's
then.
really unethical if you think about it.
There's an ethics question there, but the resource they have is not something that we cannot get from one of two places. A, we can get, let's use oil since that's the big thing. There's other places we can get oil from the Middle East. We'll start with that. Number two, we have more oil under